Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Malik Arslan Nisar, and I'm a TA for the course Introduction to Mechanical Vibrations. And today we are in the week 4 of the course. So today we'll discuss some questions which will help you in solving the weekly assignment. First of all, have all of you gone through the week 4 video lectures?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how many of you have solved the assignment already?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Sorry? Okay, you have solved most
Yes,
of
sir.
them.
Well,
Okay. Okay, so today again we will be solving previous year assignment. So I hope that would be helpful in the assignment that has been given to you. Now, before we discuss that, in the last class there was a doubt regarding to what the energy dissipated by a damper should be equal to, right? So basically, in the Neptune video, I think sir has made some mistake. Basically, he did not derive the energy dissipated by the damper. He just said that if the energy input to the cycle is this, then energy dissipated will be like this. So he just made an analogy from the previous that expression, but that is incorrect. When we derive the energy dissipation for by a damper, so there won't be any sign term, so we will do that first and after that we will proceed with the questions. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So see, now we know that energy dissipated by the damper will be equal to what? It will again be equal to work done, right? So we can simply write it as integration of the force into dx. Now we know that the damper force is nothing but cx dot into dx, right? And this we can write as c x dot, then dx can be written as dx by dt into dt, all right, and this will be c x dot square, because this dx by dt is also x dot and dt, right? Now it is c, and we know that x is equal to x sine omega t minus phi, right? Now x dot will be equal to what? X omega sine of, sorry, not sine, it will be cos. Okay, it will be cos omega t minus phi, right? So we can put it here, so it will be x omega cos of omega t minus phi, this whole thing squared, and then dt. Now this c x square and omega square we can directly take outside because they are constants. Then we have to integrate this cos omega t minus phi cos square, okay, dt. Now we know that we talked that it was energy dissipation in one cycle, right? It was energy dissipated per cycle. So we will take the integration limits from 0 to 2 pi by omega. That is basically the time period. So here also it will be 2 pi by omega because we are finding out for one cycle. Now it will be cx square omega square. Now you know that cos square omega t minus phi, we cannot directly integrate it. So I will use an identity here. Okay. We know that twice cos square theta minus 1 is equal to what? Cos 2 theta, right? So here we can write cos square theta as cos 2 theta plus 1 divided by 2, right? So this we will directly put here. This will be cos square omega, we can write it as cos of twice omega t minus phi plus 1 divided by 2 into dt. And yes, now it will be cx square omega square. So we can break it down. It will be 0, say 2 pi by omega cos of 2, or 2 we can directly take outside, okay? Then it will be integration of cos 2 omega t minus 2 phi and plus integration of dt. The limits are the same, right? Now this thing will be cx square omega square by 2. Now we know that cos of 2 omega t minus phi, when integrated, it will be what? Sine of 2 omega t minus 2 phi upon 2 omega, and the limits are from 0 to 2 pi by omega. And this dt will be what? Nothing but 2 pi by omega, because it will integrate to t and we will put the limits. It will be 2 pi by omega minus 0. Okay? Now look here. It will be cx square omega square by 2. Now when we are putting limits here, it will be what? First we can put 2 pi by omega. So it will be sine of 2 omega into 2 pi by omega, which will be 4 pi, I guess, right? 4 pi minus 2 pi upon 2 omega minus sine of 2 minus 2 pi. Sine of minus 2 pi, because when we put this 0, 2 omega will be 0. It will be sine of minus 2 pi divided by 2 omega, right? And here it will be plus 2 pi by omega. Then it will be cx square omega square by 2. Now we know that sine of 4 pi minus anything, sine of 4 pi minus any angle is simply sine of that angle. So we can write sine 4 pi minus 2 pi as simply sine of minus 2 pi divided by 2 omega, and this thing will be sine, say this sine will come outside, okay? It will be minus, wait a minute, sine of 4 pi minus 2 pi will be sine of 2 pi, sorry, okay? It won't be minus 2 pi, it will be sine of 2 pi, and this minus will come outside. It will be sine of, no, it will be minus 2 pi, it will be sine of 2 pi, right, upon 2 omega, okay? And then this will be plus 2 pi by omega, okay? Now these two will cancel each other, okay? So we will have simply cx square omega square by 2 into 2 pi by omega. So this 2 will be cancelled, this omega will cancel this, so it will be cx square omega into pi. So this will be your energy dissipated per cycle, okay? So you can see it is independent of the phase angle, okay? If you want to note it down, you can. Okay. And tell me when you are done. Okay. Yes, Amit.
Ma'am, in the video lecture, the sir has derived this formula with multiplication of sine phi also.
Yeah, that I'm telling it is wrong because sir has not derived it. If you see, sir derived energy input per cycle. Okay, and that was correct. That derivation was correct. But then he said energy dissipated per cycle because I watched that lecture after you said there was a mistake. So uh, in that step, sir has directly said that it will be pi c and in multiplied with sine phi. So he did not derive it. So maybe even if
Okay,
he
ma'am.
has derived, that is a mistake. That is what I'm saying, that there won't, this term will be independent of sine phi. Okay. So you may note it down. If you have already done, that's fine. If not, then I'll give you 2 more minutes. Then we can start with the questions. Okay.
Ma'am, what about the formula for energy input to the same type of system per cycle? Will it contain sine phi term?
Yeah, that is correct. That will contain sine phi term.
Okay, ma'am.
The energy dissipated is independent of sine phi, and that is why it's also useful for us.
Yes, ma'am.
So, if you are done with this, we can maybe start with the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So, again, it's the previous year assignment. So, I guess most of the questions would be almost same. For vibration, isolation to be effective, the frequency ratio omega by omega n should be. So tell me what will omega by omega n be equal to. Okay, let me give you the options also. The first is omega by omega n is greater than root 2. Second is omega by omega n is less than root 2. Then third is omega by omega n is equal to 2, root 2. Then fourth is none. None of the above. So tell me what this will be equal to. You must have studied it in the okay, first option. So who would explain why? Can
Ma'am,
you tell me?
because if we work on that range, that means greater than root 2. For this range, isolation becomes effective because the value of transmissibility of the forces uh, is below 1.
Okay, yeah, that is correct. So for vibration, see at t equal to 1, you know that the force transmitted will be equal to the force applied, right? So for achieving vibration isolation, it has to be less than 1. That case has been taught by sir in the class only. So from there we get R value should be greater than root 2. Okay. So this one is correct.
And is it means that we always should operate our system in this range only?
Sorry, in
If we want vibration isolation mechanism to be effective,
yeah.
should we always operate omega by omega in greater than root 2?
Yeah, because below it, it won't be effective na. If we have to isolate our system from like for vibration isolation, below root 2 it won't be effective. And at higher values of R also, I think that transmissibility is again below than 1, right? At much higher values of R. So
Okay,
for,
ma'am.
there is a particular range do in which operation will be like we have to operate our system in that range only. I'm not remembering the name. That is, maybe I have written it somewhere. Okay.
Ma'am, my question is that can we control this range because the omega n is the natural frequency of the system, and omega is again not in our control. Whatever the external excitation force is acting on it.
Uh-huh.
So how can we control omega by omega n?
No, obviously we can control. For example, we will increase the mass of the system already. If we have to operate our system, mostly we operate it in mass
Okay, ma'am.
control region when omega by omega n is very large. In that case, for omega by omega n to be large, omega n has to be small, and omega n is yeah, exactly. It omega n is under root of k by m. So either if we
Yes, ma'am.
decrease the stiffness already or increase the mass very much, then in that case we can get omega by omega n large,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So that is basically how we control it. So for mostly we try to operate our systems in mass control region only. That is for large values of R. Okay, so done with this question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the next question is the force transmissibility of a system subjected to base excitation with amplitude y, resulting in a transmitted force Fr is. So, what will be the force transmissibility for a system which is subjected to a base excitation? Okay, that is a harmonic excitation, and its amplitude is capital Y, and then the transmitted force is Fr. So, what will be the transmissibility for this system? Try to solve it and tell me what you are getting. Ft by ky, yeah, that is correct. What about others? They are also getting the same. Yeah, FTR by F naught, but see here F naught is not given, Prashant, so we will have to put the value of F naught. Okay, let me show this once. See, basically, transmissibility is equal to FTR upon F naught, right? So F naught in this case, when we have a base excitation, it is comparable to y into under root of k square plus c omega square. Okay, right? Now here they have not given any information about damping, so we assume damping to be 0. So it will be FPR upon y into k. Now you must be knowing where this formula came from, right? Everyone is aware about it, no? Or should I
Yes, ma'am.
explain it?
Yes, ma'am. It has been covered in the video lecture.
It has been covered, right? So basically, it's nothing. You have to simply again make the FBD of the system, and this time there will be a harmonic uh, excitation of the base as well. So that will occur in the governing equation of the governing equation for this system, and there from there you can compare it with the force F naught sine omega t, and you can see that F naught sine omega t is equivalent to y into under root of k square plus c omega square into sine of omega t minus phi, something like that. Okay, so you get this formula from there. If you it has been covered in the video, there is no need to discuss it again here. Okay, you can simply use the formula directly like this. You understood, Prashant? Yes, Amit.
Ma'am, in this question which we have recently concluded, the what will be the direction of transmitted force? It is from down to up, I think, from
Uh,
base towards the mass.
yes. Yeah, it will be from the transmitted force will be from base towards the system.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Okay. So a vibrating system no sorry not vibrating system, if I write it as vibrating machine. A vibrating machine is isolated from the floor using springs. Okay, vibrating machine is isolated from the floor using springs. If the transmissibility ratio is 0.5, okay, if the transmissibility ratio of isolation is 0.5, then the ratio of excitation frequency, then the ratio of excitation frequency of vibration of machine to the natural frequency of isolation. Frequency of isolation system. Okay, natural frequency of isolation system will be. So basically, you are given a vibrating machine. Okay, so we have isolated it from the floor using some springs, and the transmissibility ratio also has been given to you. Now it has asked that the ratio of excitation frequency of vibration, okay, of machine to the natural frequency. So basically it is asking about omega by omega n, right? The ratio of excitation frequency of vibration of machine, that is omega, to the natural frequency. So basically R has been asked in this question. So try to solve it and tell me what you are getting. 1. Okay. What about others? It should not be equal to 1, but let's see.
Ma'am, root 3.
Yeah, root 3 is the correct answer. So basically it's very simple. TR has been given as 0.5, right? Now we know the formula for TR. It is equal to what? Under root of 1 plus 2 zeta r whole square upon under root of 1 minus r square का whole square plus 2 zeta r square, right? Now here nothing has been said about damping, so we consider it to be 0. So this formula will reduce to 1 upon under root of 1 minus r square whole square. Here it will be like modulus of 1 upon r square, right? Now mod of 1 minus r square is equal to 1 upon 0.5 will be 2. Now since this is modulus, it has to open always in a like positive sense, so it will be r square minus 1 is equal to 2. Okay, otherwise r square will be negative, which is not possible, so we are opening it like this. So it will be r square is equal to 3 and r is root 3. Okay, plus minus. Yeah. So if you have done this question also, let's are similar questions in the assignments as well. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Okay, so it is a match the following question. I think it must have been covered in videos also, but anyways we will discuss it. Okay, I'll write down some governing equations. You just answer uh, uh, like for which type of system they are. Okay, so the first one is mz double dot plus cz dot plus kz, okay, is equal to minus my double dot. So this is for what type of system? Can anyone tell me in the chat box? Base excitation is correct. Okay, understood. It's basically from where we derive the motion transmissibility formula and everything. Okay, when we excite the base, this is the base force, this my dot, my double dot, and this is the equation for the mass or the rest of the system. Okay, so for the second one, it is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to, so this one is easy, it's me omega square sine omega t. So this is for what? Quickly tell me.
Madam, rotating unbalance.
Yeah, it's for rotating unbalance. Correct. The third one is given as mx double dot plus kx plus minus mu n is equal to f of t. Okay, f of t. This one is for what?
Coulomb's damping.
Coulomb damping, correct. Okay, let me write it down. Okay, this one is for base excitation. This one is for rotating unbalance. Let me write this one is for Coulomb damping. Now for the fourth one, okay, that is pretty simple. I think I don't even need to write it. But anyways, this one is for what? It's simply viscous damping, right? So let's discuss next question. Okay. A vibrating system with mass 10 kg and stiffness 30 Newton per meter and damper having damping coefficient 10 Newton second per meter is excited by a force of magnitude 50 sine 10t. Okay, is excited by a force of magnitude 50 sine 10t. What will be the time period of oscillation? What would be the time period of oscillation? Try to solve it, then we will discuss the question. You are making a mistake here. You are writing the time period as 2 pi by omega. Okay, so you have to consider omega d here. 2 pi by omega d. Anyone got the answer?
I got 3.95 second.
3.95.
95.
Okay, so how did you do it? What did you take omega d?
Omega d has been calculated from natural frequency and damping ratio.
Okay. Omega n into under root of 1 minus zeta
Yeah,
square.
ma'am.
Then omega n you
For
write as k by m, root k by m.
yes, sir. And for zeta, I have used the formula C by Cc.
Yeah. So basically that is how we do it. Okay. So here we know that time period is equal to 2 pi upon omega d. Okay. It will not be omega, it will be omega d here. So omega d, we know that omega d can be written as omega n into under root of 1 minus zeta square. Now you have to find omega n, you have to find zeta square, and then you have to put in this formula and you will get your answer. Now for omega n, it's simple. Okay, omega n is under root of k by m. Okay, that is 30 by 10, that is root 3, right? And then for zeta, we know that zeta is equal to C upon Cc, and it can be written as C upon 2 root Km. Okay, this formula you must remember. And now if we calculate it, okay, so yeah, C has been given as 10 and it's 2 into under root of 300. Okay, so let me calculate it. I have not calculated it. Okay, 5 by, so this is coming out to be, yeah, 0.288. Okay, this will be your zeta. And now time period is what? 2 pi upon under root of omega n is root 3 into under root of 1 minus 0.288 square. Okay, so let me quickly find it. Yeah, it is coming out to be 3.789 in my case. So yeah, 3.9, 3.78, it is acceptable. Okay, this will be the final answer. Yes, Amit?
Ma'am, in this question, the excitation frequency is 10 radian per second.
Yes.
So, ma'am, does it impact the time period of the system, ma'am?
Sorry, come again.
Does it impact the frequency of the system, the time period of the system?
No, see, time period, we can clearly see that it's not affecting the time period, right? Because omega n is natural frequency, that doesn't depend on the external force. Then zeta also does not depend on the external excitation. So yeah, time period won't depend on the external force. That is basically the concept of this question, what it is
Yes, ma'am.
asking, because some students can make a mistake that they can write it as 2 pi by omega and find the wrong time period. So basically the external force does not contribute to the time period. Okay, that is why we
Yes.
generally calculate the time period of some like known systems. For suppose we have a pendulum system, right? We calculate its time period already, because we know that the omega n and time period, they won't depend on external factors. They are systems properties, right? The natural frequency, the
Yes,
time
ma'am.
period, they won't depend on the external force and everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so okay, let's do this another question. Okay, it's also from the assignment. So a vibratory body of mass 150 kg is supported on spring of total stiffness 1050 kilonewton per meter. Okay, and has a rotating unbalanced force that has also been given, and a speed of 600 rpm. If the damping ratio is 0.3, determine transmissibility. Okay, so a vibratory system of mass 150 kg is supported on springs of total stiffness 1050 kilonewton per meter, and has a rotating unbalanced force of 525 newton. Okay, at a speed of 6000 rpm. if the damping ratio, basically the zeta, if the damping ratio is 0.3, determine transmissibility. Now who will tell me how to approach this question, like how will we solve it? Prashant or Amit, any one of you? You can try to do it on your own end. Yeah, by using TR equal to this, you can do it that way also, Prashant, but you ultimately know the formula for transmissibility, right? Even in the motion transmissibility and force transmissibility, the end formula is the same. So if you write it down in terms of zeta and r, zeta you have already been given and r you can simply find. So maybe you can try it in your own way. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. You try it in your way and tell me if you're getting the same answer, like as I have calculated. Okay, 0.083. Yeah, that is correct. What about Amit? Have you solved it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you can try it now and tell me what you are getting. Okay, so I hope you would have done it by now. Okay. Now the solution here is basically we know simply the formula for transmissibility. Okay, it is what 1 plus 2 zeta r square, right, upon under root of 1 minus r square का whole square plus 2 zeta r whole square. Okay, now zeta has already been given to us. Okay, it's 0.3. Now we need to find r, and r is basically what, omega upon omega n, right? Now omega, yeah, omega can also be found out because it has been given that it has a speed of 6000 rpm. So the speed of 6000 rpm means omega will be 2 pi n upon 60 because it is in rpm. So that's why we divide by 60. It will be 2 into pi into 6000 upon 60, right? So basically it will be equal to 100. Okay, so it will be 200 pi. Now for omega n, it is simply under root of k by m. So k equivalent has been given as 1050 kilonewton. So it is 1050 into 10 to the power 3 Newton upon 150. Now when we calculate this, okay, it is coming out to be something like 83.66. Okay, and when you calculate r, which is omega by omega n, okay, it will be 200 pi upon 83.66. Okay, are you following me? This thing
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this thing will be equal to 7.50. Now R you have found, zeta is 0.3. You can simply put it here and tell me what you are getting now. Okay, at least calculate it. 1 plus 2, 0.3 into 7.5 whole square upon under root of 1 minus 7.5 square plus 2 into 0.3 into 7.5 square. So this will be something like 0.08. Okay. So understood this?
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes you will be given a lot of information in the question, but it's not necessary that all the information will be used. Okay. So you just start from the basics, that what is transmissibility, and uh, following that you can like solve the question that what will be used and what will not be used. Okay.
Ma'am, if we extend this question, we can calculate the FT also, because I think 525 will be F0.
Sorry, come again.
We have calculated transmissibility. So
Yes.
the question can be extended to find out the FT, F
Yeah.
transmitted.
Yeah,
So,
maybe, might be, because there is information given upon the unbalanced force. So m naught E omega square is already given. It's 525 Newton. Yeah, you can simply find it out because the
no,
force
ma'am, this 525 will be F0.
yeah, basically by F0 I mean m naught E omega square.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so you can find out the transmitted force also. Yeah, that can be an extension to this question. So, yeah. So, uh, wait a minute, let me see what else we can do. Just a minute. Okay, see, a machine of 1 ton is acted upon by an external force of 2500 Newton at a frequency of 1000 RPM. Okay. To reduce the effects of vibration, an isolator of rubber, isolator of rubber, to reduce the effects of vibration, isolator of rubber and static deflection and a static deflection of 4 mm under the machine load and an estimated damping are used. Okay, zeta is equal to 0.2. The force in the force transmitted to the foundation is. So basically we have a machine, okay, of 1 ton, and we it has been applied, and an external force is applied to it, okay, and the magnitude of that force is 2500 Newton, okay. So again it's a harmonic force, the frequency has been given. Now what we want to do is that we know that this force will be transmitted to the surrounding structures, and that is not uh, like we do not wish that, okay. So we want to eliminate that thing. So to reduce those effects we use a rubber stator, okay. This we use an isolator of rubber, and it has a static deflection of 4 mm under the machine load. So basically it's talking about stiffness, okay. We use an isolator, we use a stiffness, and we use a damping to reduce those effects of vibrations. Now after we incorporate these things, it's asking basically what the force is transmitted to the foundation, okay. So that you have to find out. So you can maybe give it a try, then we will discuss the solution. You have to find the transmitted force. How should we do it? Are you trying it? Using relation TR in terms of Kc and omega, or in terms of zeta, that you have to figure out. Give it a try, okay. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Then if you get an approach to solve this question, you can tell me. Then we'll discuss the solution. See, always remember that if zeta has been given, then it's better to use the formula which contains zeta, because if you use the formula which contains k, omega, and c, that will be more difficult, because then you will have to find k and then you will have to find c also, right? You can solve it that way also, but you will have to find two things. But here if you are using the formula of zeta, when zeta is given, you know that only r has to be found out, okay. So finding using that formula is feasible here. So you can remember that whenever zeta is given, you will apply the formula which contains zeta, okay. Anyone got the answer? Okay, Prashant, that is correct. Can you unmute yourself and tell me how you did it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So first, we need to calculate K, that is mg divided by delta. Static deflection is given. No? So mg divided by delta, we can get value of K. Then omega can be obtained. 2 pi n by 60, it is
Yeah. Then you put it in
omega.
that formula, k k minus m omega square whole square.
Uh, no, that zeta and R, ma'am.
Okay.
So in that
Then
case,
you did not need k, right?
zeta,
Okay, you found omega n from there.
yes, zeta is 0.2, it is given. R is omega upon omega n.
Yeah. Okay.
So it
Okay.
is 2.24.
Okay. Okay. I got your point. What about others? Are others getting the same answer? What was your answer?
R is
Okay, it's
2.11.
916. I am
2.11.
getting 929 something. So maybe in the options it was like 700 and 800. So the closest is in 900s only. So I think both can be considered. What about Amit and Dalan? Do you guys got the answer? Or are you still trying? Then I can wait a minute for maybe 2 more minutes. Yeah, Amit, ask.
Ma'am, I got confused in this question actually.
Okay.
Because say ma'am, this 4 mm is the static deflection of the rubber itself.
Yes, but that
So,
will this static deflection has been given here so that you can find the stiffness of the rubber. Basically, the rubber will have some stiffness. Obviously, that's why we are using it, because whenever we isolate, we are making vibrator isolates, we use the property of stiffness only. Either we use springs or rubbers or any other pads. So basically, they are for stiffness purpose only.
yes ma'am, using the formula mg divided by delta static.
Huh?
So from this we can calculate the springness of the rubber in
Yes.
terms of K.
Yes.
Okay, now we have to calculate omega n.
Yeah.
So for this I will use formula under root K by m.
Uh-huh.
So ma'am, here which mass should I use here? Mass of the machine or mass of the rubber?
No, see, for
So actually earlier we are
there
using
you can
the
use mass. You
mass
don't have to
of
use mass of rubber. You have to use mass of system. I guess we assume that spring, rubber, they are massless. I have already told you that we do not consider their mass. If we consider their mass, then there is a different procedure for that. Here also, whatever you are using, a damper or a rubber or any spring, you do not consider mass. You assume it to be massless. So for the natural frequency also, you make it a part of the system, right? So you are basically inducing stiffness into this system. So you will consider the mass of the system.
okay.
So let me now go through the solution, okay? So see, as I said that we can simply follow that if we have to find force transmitted, we know that force transmitted upon force given or force applied is equal to what? Under root of 1 plus 2 zeta r square and divided by under root of 1 minus r square ka whole square plus 2 zeta r whole square, right? Now here in the question zeta has been given. Okay, so we need to find r. Now we simply know r is omega upon omega n. Okay, so now we find omega. Now the frequency is given as 1000 rpm. Okay, so it is simple. We know that omega is 2 pi n upon 60, right? So it will be 2 pi into 1000 upon 60. Now when you calculate this, okay, I have already calculated it. It is 104.71 radians per second. Yeah, that is correct. Now for omega n, we can simply write omega n as we have derived it earlier. It is equal to g upon delta st. That is the static deflection. Okay, so it will be equal to g upon, now this has been given as static deflection is 4 mm, so it will be 4 into 10 to the power minus 3. Okay, now when you calculate this thing, it is coming out to be 49.5. okay, radian per second. Let me check it once again. The root of
Yes, ma'am. Yes, correct.
huh?
It is correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 49.49 something like that only. So now we calculate R. So R will be what? Omega upon omega n, right? 104.7 upon 49.52. Now this comes out to be 2.1, right? 2.11 or 2.1. So you plug it in there, and we know that FTR upon the force, external force is 2500 Newton. Okay, and here it is, tell me what this expression is coming out to be. 1 plus 2 zeta r square, जब इसमें ये 2.1 हम प्लग करते हैं, and also zeta equal to 0.2. Anyone calculated this? Yeah, okay, numerator is 9 point, okay, numerator, no, you can calculate the whole expression and tell me what you are getting. I think it will be something like 0.37187. So this thing will be, so yeah, it will be something like 929.67 Newton approximately. Okay. Understood? Okay. So even if you do
Yes,
not
ma'am.
remember these formulas, you can always derive it. Okay, you just have to make the FBD of the mass. Okay, I'll quickly show you. Even if you don't remember how to find this, you can simply make the mass as m. Okay, then it has say x double dot is in this direction. Then when we write the governing equation, okay, and this is the spring, so we write x double dot mx double dot minus इस direction में जा रहा है, then spring force will be opposite, so it will be kx is equal to 0, right? Something like this. Then we can write m x double dot upon k by m x is equal to 0, right? Now we know that this is our omega, and now how to find this? We know that this load is, it has been mentioned here that the static deflection of 4 mm under the machine load. So whenever we consider the static deflection, we consider that this is, the spring is elongating under the load of the machine. So we can write k into delta st is equal to simply mg. So here delta s or k, simply k is equal to m into g upon delta st. Now when we plug this here, it will be x double dot minus mg upon delta st upon m is equal to 0. So and this will be x. So again we find out that this is omega n, which is equal to under root of g by delta st. ठीक है, it is the simple basic procedure we used to follow. Okay, even if you do not remember the formula, so you can derive it that time also. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So maybe we can solve one or two questions more, then we can end the class. Okay. So a single degree of freedom system has a mass of 10 kg, stiffness 100 Newton per meter, and viscous damping ratio 0.03. Okay, so basically zeta is equal to 0.03. The dynamic magnification factor at an excitation frequency of 2 radians per second is. Try this question and tell me what you are getting. It is very simple. It's from the previous lectures, I guess. Anyone got the answer?
Ma'am, I have got 1.66.
Yes. What about others? Two point two eight. I think you are making some mistake, Prashant. The answer is 1.66. See, you remember the formula, right? For dynamic magnification factor, it's under root of 1 minus r square का whole square plus 2 zeta r whole square. Again, zeta has been given, r you have to find out. ठीक है? So r is what? Omega upon omega n. So omega is okay. Omega is given, it's 2 radians per second, and omega n is under root of k by m, so it will be under root of 100 by 10, which is under root of 10. So when you calculate this, it will be something like 0.632. Okay, now you can put it in this formula and put the value of zeta, and then you can find out. Okay, so it is very simple, straightforward question. (0.03 into 0.63). So it will be equal to 1.66. Okay. Okay, now everyone try to solve this question. The force transmissibility of a system is measured to be 0.5 when subjected to base excitation with an amplitude of 10 mm. With an amplitude of 10 mm and a transmitted force of 20 Newton. Okay, the stiffness for this system will be. So basically you have to find the stiffness for this system. You can give it a try, then we can discuss it.
I'm getting 4,000.
4,000. Okay, that is the correct answer. ऐसे किया तुम फोन लगाओ ईयरफोन लगाओ कानों में कुछ सुनो अब मैं नहीं देख पाऊंगी ये लोग लास्ट क्वेश्चन है गाना सुनो और अगर मैंने तब बुलाया तब आना Yeah, so Amit, how did you solve it? And what about others? Others are also getting the same answer? Okay. Done with it? Okay, Amit, you can tell me how you attempted this question.
Ma'am, here we have force transmissibility given as 0.5
Sorry.
and the amount of force transmitted is 20. So obviously the base excitation force amplitude will be double of that one. So first I calculate F0.
Okay, that will be 40.
Yeah, 40. Now that will be equated to the basic formula kx square plus cx c omega x whole square. Since there is no damping, so everything will be taken care by spring only. So I will equate Ft is equal to kx or ky.
Okay.
So amplitude is given as 10 mm. So from this I can calculate k.
Yeah, that is correct. Others got the answer? So basically, we have been given force transmissibility as 0.5. Okay. Now, 40k. Yeah, like 40k you mean 4000, not 40k, it will be 4k. Right. So you can simply write force transmissibility as FTR upon, like, this is another formula in the same sense as Amit said. Okay, it will be K into amplitude of the base excitation, okay, which is basically Y here. So you can simply write the force, the transmitted force here, which is 20 upon K, which is equal to, basically K we have to find, into amplitude is 10 mm, so it will be 10 into 10 to the power minus 3, okay, meters, and this will be equated to 0.5, basically the transmissibility. From here we can find K equal to 20 upon 5 into 10 to the power minus 3, okay, so it will be 4 into 10 to the power 3, which is equal to 4000 Newton per meter. Okay.